This is the Easy on Me podcast. I'm Tiara.
I'm Oksana.
We all know that life be lifing.
Can't stop, won't stop.
We're just here to remind you to show yourselves a little bit of grace.
People always talk about going easy on them, but who's going to go easy on me?
Who's going to go easy on me? Hey y'all, welcome to another episode of the Easy on Me podcast. My name's Tiara.
I'm Oksana.
This podcast is about showing ourselves grace as we navigate life, because life be lifing and it don't stop. Okay? We got a special guest in the building today. Miss Jennifer is here with us. So if you could please introduce yourself to our viewers and just let them know your Instagram handle and what you do.
So my name is Jennifer Hatchett Stover. I am a licensed professional counselor, also known as a therapist. I'm a former educator. My counseling practice is Counseling in Color. So you can find me on Instagram at Counseling in Color PLLC. And then I also have a nonprofit that is focused on bringing mental health awareness and access to underserved and underprivileged communities, specifically my community, the Black community, called Untriggered. So we also have an Untriggered Experience, or the Untriggered Experience podcast. So you can find that also on most social medias and platforms.
Sounds good. So we have a segment called What It Is and What It Ain't. What it is something positive from your week that you want to share, something negative or crazy from your week that you want to share. So it can be in your personal life, on social media.
I'm leading this one.
You don't have to.
Go ahead.
Well, you can.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I'll start with the positive. The positive, thank you, Lord, for waking me up, giving me all the blessings in life. You did an awesome prayer before the podcast. I just accepted a position as a professor. So
congratulations.
That's my positive.
That's exciting.
But real quick, it's not a negative. It is what it is.
It is what it is.
I want to run it back to August 5th. Can we take a moment of silence?
Let's go back to August 5th.
She said take a moment of silence.
Just a moment of silence that definitely needs to be in the history books from here on out for our people. But y'all, the video of the Black man and the YT people, white people, getting jumped. And then brother man coming from the river,
swimming through the river.
So after first of all, he threw up his hat. That was that was the bat signal for all our ancestors coming up out the water to come in. And when I tell you they turned them white people out,
yeah, they did.
Turned them out.
So I really don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but I look at it right now as like it's about time.
Yeah. They deserved it.
About damn
They
time.
deserved it.
It's about time.
Because my thing is that man was just doing his job.
Doing his
why
job.
Y'all even being like that. He had already told y'all not to park y'all boat.
We know why
like
they
that.
being like that. But yeah.
We know why.
They've always been like that and entitled to do what they want to do.
And I was just like, do it make me a bad person that I felt like a lot of
joy in my heart? Like my heart was smiling. My soul has been anchored.
Deep down in my heart. Yeah,
Because it was just a beautiful thing, and I have watched all videos. I feel like
from all angles.
From all angles. I'm talking about the man inside the boat, the people on top of the boat, the people on the other side. Only angle we ain't see was the white folk. And we waiting on y'all. Y'all ain't have time to put no camera. I can get your ass beat.
Oh my goodness.
Yes.
So is that what it is? That's yours?
What it is I found me a new therapist, y'all.
Yay!
When I tell y'all I'm excited about life right now, like, I mean, we just feel like we hit it off. And we were talking, and she gave me feedback. I'm not going to lie. I told her, like, my other therapists, I feel like they didn't work out because I wasn't getting, like, feedback I want. Like, I hear my friends, like, their experiences. I'm like, dang, my therapist ain't told me nothing like that, you know? So.
Was your therapist Black?
Yes, of course.
Okay. The previous one was Black?
Yeah.
Okay.
She was. And she was cool. And maybe I don't know, maybe I wasn't in a good mental space to take anything, or I wasn't hearing her right. I don't know. But this one just feels good. And I'm excited about that. There is no what it ain't. Besides my dogs ate my AirPod. y'all just don't understand that. having a hard time with that, y'all, because I only had one. And I ain't got none.
None.
I'm going to put my cash up at the end of the video if y'all, if y'all want to donate to give me the mail parts. Okay? What's yours, TT?
These braids too long. That's what it ain't.
Oh.
Oksana did my braids and they too long. Anyway, no.
Oh, they
I
look
didn't,
nice.
I didn't start them. So my cousin started the braids and she started them out too long, but that was my fault. I be trying to do too much and do for. I was just trying to do
Doing too much.
Is that something you're going to work out with your therapist?
What? Doing too
Mhm.
much? Oh, please.
Boundaries and...
Oh, we gotta get into that. And see, and that's what I'm saying. I never heard that from my last therapist. She never said like you need to set some boundaries.
Okay.
Never said it.
She never said it. So now it's time. I'm still having a hard time.
We're going to
But
get there.
We're gonna get there.
I'm
My
excited.
what it is I had a nice vacation with my husband over the weekend.
Oh, that's awesome.
We went to Mexico. It was really good for us, just to kind of reconnect, refocus on each other, you know, and talk about some of our priorities in our marriage and what we're looking forward to, you know, what we want to work on. So it was really good.
I love
That's
it.
great.
It was really good.
Vacations are always.
Always great.
So I don't know why I spoke on it, but they look like so much fun.
Like, oh, what you mean?
Vacations, I'm like,
Oh,
vacations.
vacations.
Vacations are
Oh,
always
yeah.
fun,
Okay.
but I'm like, yeah, okay.
So speaking of setting boundaries and your counselor, that's what we're here to talk about today is mental health. So I want to start with mental health in the Black community in general, and then kind of trickle down to Black women since we are Black women.
Yes.
And then just start from there. So I guess we can just talk about like what mental health means to what does mental health mean to you?
Ooh.
Is it specific to the individual or is there like a generic definition?
There is a generic definition. I feel like mental health really, the synonymous word would be wellness for me, but it looks different in every community, in every space, and it can look different throughout the day.
Right.
So mental health to me is a good thing. Some of the things that you do that unknowingly could be mentally healthy for you, for your body. But as a therapist and as a Black therapist, mental health for me is holistic. So it's not just the mind, because your mind and your body are interconnected. And when you think about your mind, your body, your spirituality are all interconnected. So mental health just operates on many different levels. But for me, it's overall wellness, mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually.
That's good.
Yeah. And I never thought about it like that.
I didn't think about them being interconnected like that. But I mean, you do hear that like moving your body helps your mental, and so it makes sense.
That's why people sit in it.
It makes sense.
In depression for so long.
So last week we talked about mental health last week as kind of like a part one to this series, and then we talked about growing up in our households, how we didn't really hear talk about mental health.
Not at all.
If you went to go see a therapist, you were deemed crazy or just, unhinged or something. So why do you think, like, in the Black community that it's, like, shied away from like that?
There's a lot of reasons, but one of the reasons I will say is most of us in here or in the Black community have some sort of spirituality.
Right.
So we were taught that you need to go pray about it. Or you have I've heard this, a fractured relationship with God if you have a mental health issue or if you have a challenge. I feel like culturally, generationally, that's been brought up for us. We're strong as a culture. We're very resilient as a culture. We've made it this far as a culture with all the things that have happened to us. But you made a comment earlier, mental health challenges, therapists, psychologists has always been a white thing.
Right. And why? Why has it always been that? That was my question.
So it goes twofold. I will look at, a lot of the things that we practice as a therapist, I try to go beyond and I say Eurocentric, which means westernized white ideologies. I go beyond that and look at African practices. Where did yoga come from? Like all these different things that we incorporate. So I will say for a very long time, the typical practice of therapy, psychology is a Eurocentric practice. Right. So I'm not going to a therapist that is as white as this marble table. I don't connect with this person. I don't feel comfortable. So you were the oppressor, and in most spaces still are. Why would I send my child to you?
Right.
Why would I go to you?
Okay.
I've been harmed by you. You don't look like me, and you can't understand anything that's going on with me. So that's one.
Right.
Number two, I feel like, or I know, the Eurocentric practices did come from Afro or African practices. They were rooted in Africa. And so not only did you steal identities, you stole a lot of our practices.
Right.
So there's a level of mistrust in the Black community.
Yeah. Mistrust.
Doctors, therapy, it don't matter because most
Definitely.
of the people.
And I be,
Doctors.
I be like scrolling past them. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie. And I feel bad, but like, should I feel bad? Cause
Absolutely
I want
not.
somebody that's my kid.
No.
Your
Do you want
kid.
when it boils down to it, you want somebody that understands your experience.
Right.
And I'm not saying that white therapists or white counselors or white doctors are bad. That's not what I'm trying to preach.
There's a lot of them.
It is a lot of them. And there are people that are actually
Take
good
it
and
away.
trained in what they do.
Right.
But it is a different narrative when I come to somebody and I don't even have to say how I feel. You know how I feel.
It.
By looking at me, you even know by what we've all collectively been through. We can just say August 5th and every Black person is going to be
No.
like, dog, like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like
there's a level of understanding
Well, my
and connection.
chair.
Yeah, like chair. I got, man, do I need to go get this chair?
right.
That's a whole new phrase.
That's a whole new phrase. Like, dang.
So there's
it's
a
in the
level
trunk.
of, we have a different level of connection. And I get that for any community. You want somebody that looks like you because they understand what you're going through. But
Yeah.
the other part was we've been taught that mental health and prayer don't operate in the same space. Mental health
My
and
thing
spirituality
is,
don't.
though, like, y'all don't think God made therapists like y'all
Absolutely.
Think, y'all don't
Me
think
too.
he speaks to therapists?
Right.
That be my thing. So it's okay for us to see them, and I just hope and pray that my therapist is praying too. Okay, that's what I bank on.
That's why I
So,
kind of like the new age churches now because they do
Yes.
talk about mental health a lot more than when I was growing up because I grew up in a traditional Baptist church,
Mhm.
like real traditional, like they sing hymns real
Mhm.
slow. Oh, I thought I went before. But I didn't hear too much talk about mental health. It was always like you need to just pray, and that was pretty much all I heard.
but then you got to think about that's pretty much all they knew. So
That's
we have
true.
to give them,
That is true.
you know. But now when you know better
You gotta do better.
and you preach better, tell them people about therapy now. Come on now, put it on your roster.
Yeah.
So speaking of therapy, what are some of the benefits of therapy?
There's a lot of benefits. Just again, having somebody that can listen to you, hear you, validate your feelings, what you've been through. I consider myself to be a professional listener, but also I can take what you've said to me or how you feel, and it's a different perspective that I can spin back to
Right.
you. So it's like looking in a mirror.
Yeah.
But you know how they have like those two-way mirrors or funny mirrors when you go, it's a different perspective and it allows you to see yourself in a different light. And not only that, I validate like literally the hurt or experiences that you've been through. A lot of people don't have that. I work with couples a lot. It's very difficult. You being married, you might be able to attest to this. Sometimes you and your spouse, you could be saying the exact same thing in two different languages, and neither one of you
Right.
can understand because you're at a heightened level or you
Yes.
frustrated. And so having a therapist or a counselor is also somebody that's a neutral party to be able to communicate or help you communicate your needs and wants and values in a language that both of you understand. So we interpret a lot and literally just hold space for
Right,
other people.
right.
So that's one of the benefits of being able to come and let out what you've been holding for so long, but hopefully with a trusted individual that can help you heal or find the resources you need to heal.
Yeah. And I was listening to one of your episodes, the one that you did on sexual health, and you had mentioned like therapy is like, it's kind of like going to like your primary care doctor. It's the same thing. Like you're taking preventative measures to
Right.
prevent, something worse from happening.
Absolutely.
So I did hear you describe that. So trauma.
Ooh.
I feel like that's a trigger word in 2023. Trauma. I feel like I hear it everywhere.
You do.
Do you think it's overused? Do you think I don't know.
I'll
What do you
ask
think?
you that. What have you heard, or how do you hear the word trauma?
Like, what you mean?
Like, where do you hear it?
Like
Everywhere.
especially social media. I mean, they
Social
find a
media,
word
yeah.
and they just use it over and
Overuse
over
it.
again.
Like
That's what it is.
vibe.
Yeah, the vibe.
The
The
vibe. I'm
and
tired of
what's
vibe.
my? I'm just sick of it. I'm sick of it all.
I'm sick of normalized.
Normalize the word normalize.
I said that today, and really, to be honest with you, that's a word we need to use.
It is, but I
just
think
said it
people
out loud.
misuse it.
That's what I think. That's what it is.
Yes.
They
People
misuse
misuse.
it
We
a
don't
lot.
need to normalize everything.
Everything.
Everything don't need to be normalized.
So it is hard to differentiate when it's real trauma
Right.
versus this. Oh, you just had trauma. Or like depression. Are you just depressed? I remember saying, said this in one of my podcasts. My mom used to be like, go depress them dishes. Like, then. I mean, and we're really good at taking phrases, and that's part of our gift of our culture is taking things and making them popular.
Yeah.
Like you said, making them funny. Black Twitter, come on now. We took a whole average platform.
That was made by a white man and called it something else.
Yes, and made it something a whole different
It's
identity.
a whole different world.
Yep.
I don't.
Fun fact, y'all know it's not Twitter no more.
Yep.
It's X.
Which,
Why?
Like the letter X.
Why? And y'all see, I don't be in tune with
You
the
don't be
world.
knowing nothing.
I don't. I just don't.
But I do hear a lot about like childhood trauma.
Mhm.
That's the one that I hear more than anything. Childhood trauma, like how you grew up with your parents, and what do you think that? How much of an impact do you think childhood, like somebody's childhood, has on their mental health?
a lot.
Yeah.
I'm a survivor of trauma, a survivor of childhood trauma, and it's not something that ever goes away. It's something you learn to cope with. So I think about, like, I live with ADHD, I live with anxiety. Those are things that are part of just me. I recognize that. Trauma for a lot of people, if they don't get the help that they need, especially as a child, it's embedded. So think about you having like a heart defect. You live with it. There are things you can do to make it worse. There are things you can do to make it better. But most often we ignore the signs and we continue to make it worse. Then you go to the doctor with this heart defect and you're like, oh, my blood pressure is 200 over 100. What do I do? So trauma is very similar. If we don't deal with the trauma early on, it grows up with us and it
Right.
becomes a part of who we are. As a therapist, though, there are certain things you can do to help manage those symptoms because really, truly, trauma is something you don't want to play with. And so I
Right.
hate the fact that this word is overused or overgeneralized because really, truly, for the individuals that have been traumatized, it's deep. And it can be
Yeah.
so deep rooted and so hard to even heal.
Yeah, and I think I realized that, like, especially being married, for some reason, like, after marriage, a lot of the childhood stuff started coming up, and I'm like, wow, I didn't realize how much stuff we didn't work on,
Right.
before marriage. So, yeah, childhood definitely plays a role. Even, like, from the words from our parents, we talked about that, too. The words from our parents, the thing they would say. Like, I remember my mom saying, like your mom said, depress them dishes. I would say how I'm feeling or something. She'll be like, you ain't got no feelings, or you ain't got no wants, you ain't got no job.
Yep.
Right. And
Why are you
like-
sad? What you got to be sad about?
And I'm like, so I can't have feelings because I ain't working? It's not legal for me to work.
Yes.
What you want me
But
to do?
even now, though, now that we're grown, right, and we talk about, I said last week, we talk about this a lot when it comes to, like, cleaning and just doing, like, your everyday routine. Like, when you get into, like, a stage of where you just don't want to do nothing and people come over, or my mama for sure, you ain't did this, you ain't do that, baby. I'm trying to survive.
Exactly.
Live.
I'm trying to breathe
Yes.
on my own, and you trying to tell me go pick up some
Yes.
goddamn clothes? You want to tell me go pick up the goddamn
Okay,
shirt on the
Bernie
floor? You better pick my own self up now.
Yes.
Like you, and I'm like, Mama, you not understand really what, because you don't. I guess you don't know what it is until you hear somebody else going through it.
Yeah.
But I used to watch Steve Harvey a lot, and when he said, I think he said it on one episode about how a person would just like, you would just see, I guess he went over somebody's house, or his house was messy at one point, and he just couldn't deal with, like, I don't have the mental capacity to fold up these goddamn clothes.
Yeah.
I don't, and it just builds up because the thoughts in your head, they just keep going,
And to people on the outside looking in, it looks like you
you
just
lazy.
or and that it could be a little bit lazy.
It could be a little bit. We not
Well, let's
lying.
talk about that. What is laziness? What
Can
is
somebody tell me?
what is laziness?
Laziness.
Right now?
Uh-huh.
Laziness. I think I don't know. I just feel like it's knowing better. Like you know what you're supposed to be doing. You're just like
Quality
quality of
of being unwilling to work or use energy.
being able to
Unwilling to work or use energy. So now dissect that. Why are we not able to use energy, or why are we not willing to work?
Let's talk about the why.
Mm-hmm.
And it's because life be life.
Life-
Exactly.
Exciting.
Exactly.
Break it down.
So I feel like that's another term that we use to invalidate a lot of people. Are you just lazy?
You
Yeah.
just lazy.
No. If my client doesn't want to wash dishes, why don't you want to wash those dishes? How are you
Yeah.
feeling today?
I just don't want to.
You be tired. I'm tired.
yeah, you're tired.
And I'm going to choose rest over washing them dishes.
Right.
And see, as a child, we didn't have that option.
You
so
didn't.
now that I'm grown and paying my own bills, I'm going to choose that option before anything else. I'm not going to think about, oh, my mom going to come in here and make me clean these dishes. No, I'm tired, and I
Right.
do not feel like doing it. And it's okay.
I will
It's
s-
okay to be tired.
It's hard to come out of it. What were we gonna say?
I was going to say, so we talk about trauma, but there's a whole embedded piece that we don't necessarily really talk about as Black people. So generational trauma, historical trauma. I'm a trauma expert. And so when you think about what trauma does to the body, so our ancestors, slaves, coming over here on, been bought, sold, killed, murdered, all those things. I'm going to get real scientific for a second. When you have children, the stress and trauma that you go through changes the DNA of your child.
Whoa.
So imagine years and years and years of torture, stress, fear is embedded into a whole generation of people without us even knowing.
Yeah.
Then on top of that, reinforce stereotypes from our parents because they got those same stereotypes from their parents. So it's embedded in who we are. Now in 2023, we turn on the news, go back to 2020 because that's just the most, I think, most pivotal point that we can recognize as a culture that hurt so far deep everybody across the board was George Floyd.
Right.
Whether you watched it on TV, on your phone, or you were out there protesting, that was a level of hurt that we all experienced collectively at the
I
same
remember
time.
that. You took it. She took
I
it.
took it so
She took it
hard.
hard.
Oh, I took it so hard. It messed me up mentally for real,
For
for
a
real.
minute.
And nothing had ever affected me like that, so I didn't know what to do with the feelings.
Yep.
I'm not related to this man.
Nope.
I don't know him, but he looked like me. It was a weird
I
feeling.
think we were fed up. I think that's
Yes.
what it was.
Because it was unnecessary and like to watch, and I should have cut the video off, but I couldn't stop
Kept
watching.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop watching and analyzing everything. Like, why didn't he stop? And like, it was just too much. But it affected me really, really deep.
It affected me so bad. That's the reason Untriggered was born. I had 4 strokes. So the trauma from just that,
Wow.
I went through some really bad racial issues at work. About 4 months later, I lost the ability to speak
Wow.
while I was eating a sandwich one day at work. And back to back, it just happened back to back to back. And so you think about what we take on physically. Trauma sometimes is not visible, but even though we may feel like we've gotten over it, our body remembers how we felt. So there's a book called The Body Keeps a Score that specifically talks about how trauma really affects the body. And so I'm going to quote it wrong, but you think about like in war times, they did a study on people that I guess had been through war, like the first incident. After 3 incidents, their body physically changed. So imagine how many times we're exposed to stuff on TV, social media, not only
That's the thing.
all the time.
But it's so like it's addicting though. Because I think I have like fear of missing out a little bit, FOMO. Like I be needing to know what's going on in the world, so it's hard to disconnect. But then when I'm connected, I'm being fed all this negativity.
Yep.
So
Right.
it's like, when is enough?
It was enough was August. What did you say, 5th? Baby, it gave us a little more energy, baby.
That is going to be, so we have Juneteenth
Yeah.
and then back to August 5th.
Yes.
Let's go. But yeah, no, I get it. I think that's what it was. It's just a lot. It was a lot.
You
2020
carry a
was
lot.
definitely-
Ooh,
You carry a
mentally,
lot.
Yeah.
Every single day you carry a lot. And then a lot of us have not recovered from COVID. Like,
That right there. And I'm a nurse. So I was on the front lines dealing with
Wow.
COVID. Diamond was too. Diamond's a
Wow.
nurse as well. She an ER nurse.
Oh.
So being on
Heart-
the front lines during COVID, actually taking care of the patients, and then it's like, it was so much uncertainty
yeah.
when it first came. We don't know what this disease is. We don't know if we taking it home to our families.
Yep.
Ooh.
Like, I was scared to go around my family because I'm like, I don't want to get anybody sick.
Right.
Because I have family members like my brother. He has kidney failure, so I'm like, I don't want to go around him and get him sick. So the managing your own anxiety going to work, and then you have to like provide compassionate care
Yep.
to sick people that can't see their families.
Yep.
Right.
So I was doing a little bit more nurturing because it's like you don't even have your family. So I was becoming their family. And it was kind of hard to separate my emotions from it. So
Mm-hmm.
2020, if I wasn't at work, I was in my room. I was sleeping.
We still got sick.
I still be sleeping.
I say we still got sick for my birthday that year. Everybody got sick.
Dang.
Oh, and then I got COVID at the end of 2020. Yeah, we all got COVID.
Yeah.
So it was a lot mentally, and I didn't know what it was back then. But now looking back, I'm like, I think I had mild depression.
Yeah.
Mild depression, and then I was going to work like scared and fearful, and I was like, that's anxiety. Didn't know what I was feeling in the moment though.
So being able to name that is important, but we're going to be seeing the effects of COVID and I say all of it, the pandemic, George Floyd, for years to come.
Yeah.
Because again,
So
it's
it ain't over.
it's not over. The physical and mental effects, absolutely not. So it may not be the disease itself, but it's what the disease caused.
Yeah.
The fear, like you said, anxiety, depression. Think about our children that, not to talk about clients, but you have so many children that can't conceptualize what COVID was.
Right.
All they know is certain age groups of kids know people died.
Yeah.
And I actually went to a training, and this one lady made it so plain. She said the client she was working with lost her dog during COVID. She had to be 7. Mentally, she thought everybody around her was going to die. All she knew was COVID caused death. My dog died. So now she developed an anxiety disorder because that's how she conceptualized. As kids, you think, oh, this happens because you don't know a lot. So she developed this anxiety disorder, OCD, because she associated death with her dog dying and COVID. So everybody around her was suspect. Everybody.
Ooh, and
And
I
that's
can
a
imagine
kid.
having
A kid.
That's what I'm saying.
And
as
the
a
parent,
child.
Yep.
the parent not knowing what to say to the
No,
child.
they had,
how to
and they
deal
didn't
with
even
it.
know. They were like, I have no idea why she developed this disorder. It took the therapist to be like, well, what happened during COVID? And she said, well, no, nothing. Da, da, da. The dog died, and she said, that's it.
That's it right there.
That's it.
Thank
That was a
God for
stressor
her.
that caused her to, she would wash her hands 50 million times a day. She would wear her mask. She wouldn't do anything or touch anything because she was so fearful that somebody else in her family was going to die.
That right there, the fear of thinking that you trying to be
Listen.
safe, but
Yes.
you like, is my brother
Listen.
running the street?
Nope.
My mama working here. and
Nope.
Listen, seriously. And
I
then,
was
like, for me,
scared.
in 2020, that's when my brother was diagnosed with end-stage renal. It was so, and I got married in 2020, wedding planning.
Oh,
I
girl.
did too much, huh?
Girl,
I
where
did-
your therapist at?
Girl, I told you this.
I did
Get
too
it
You
up.
should get really good benefits being a nurse.
So,
Where your
I
therapist
was
at?
fearful that he was going to lose his life,
Yeah.
because my brother, he was only 40 when he was diagnosed. He's super young. He was in out the hospital. It was just
Yeah.
a crazy time. Then his daughter diagnosed with type 1 diabetes the same year. She was in ER. Blood sugar
Life
had shot up.
be
Life was just
lifing.
lifing.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop, won't stop. So it was a lot.
That's what I fear is going to continue is those types of things that we can't physically name, diabetes, blood
Right.
pressure, strokes, because that's how our body reacts when it's in stress.
Right.
So unfortunately, that's our community.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
majority of us that will be affected long term.
Okay, so I have a question. How many black men do you see in therapy?
I only have a couple of black men. I typically try to refer black men to other black men.
Right. Okay.
I do have a couple of black men, and they chose a woman for their own specific reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And then I have couples. So that's one thing. But I do try to get a black man with a black man because that is even as few black women counselors out there. There's fewer black men counselors.
Right.
And it has to be something specific for you to want to see a woman. And it was. But I generally try to hook them up with another black man.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good. I just wanna, cause a lot of men they don't. When I talk to them about it, they like, I ain't going to nobody who talk to me about nothing. Nah,
Yeah.
stuff.
It's hard because women are a little bit more in tune with their emotions. They have a little bit more emotional
Right.
intelligence. Black men are usually referred by another woman.
Mm.
So it's a wife that's like,
Mine ain't working. My refers are being deferred.
What?
run that back one more time.
What? She don't even know what she
Run that back,
said.
please.
My
One more time.
refers are being rejected.
Your referrals are being
Referrals.
referred. Okay.
They
Deferred.
not deferred.
There you go. Okay.
So we talked about depression and anxiety. Did you have any personal experiences that you wanted to share that you're comfortable with sharing?
Oh no! Besides the time I was telling her last week, like I can look at my pictures and tell when I was going through it. I can look at every picture and say I was depressed here, I was happy here, da da this, da da that, and I just be looking at some pictures like, girl, how are you smiling
Right.
in that picture and you was going through it?
Wow.
I was going out with Jazz one night, and I'm just like, I feel like when I look at the picture, my eyes were kind of like glossy, like I had been crying or wanted to cry. But like for me to just get up and go like nothing, and I wasn't even thinking about therapy then, you know. So yeah, that's about it, you know.
Yeah.
So I guess I want to switch gears a little bit and talk about, we talked about depression and anxiety. I want to talk more specifically how it looks in black women, because we know it can look different in black women because we be like trying to take care of everybody and not ourselves. I know that's one thing I struggle with, like people pleasing. So what does like depression and anxiety look like
Like she just
in
said.
black women? Like she
It could
just
be
said.
going out. It could be drinking. It could be hanging out with your friends. It could be isolation. It could be going to work every single day.
I was doing all that at once.
Yep. For black women, it's hard to tell, but there are clear signs that you can tell somebody is going through depression. So the textbook, extreme sadness, things like that, isolation, loss of interest, those are typical, normal, I'd say, normalized signs. That if somebody is going through those things, talks about suicide or self-harm, those are typical, but the atypical signs are signs that you probably wouldn't think any different, especially for black women, because what you said, we are taught to take care and carry. We carry so much that it is hard to stop and unpack any of that.
Right. You don't have time. to
You
stop.
don't. You have kids. When do you unpack you?
I don't even got kids and I can't unpack.
We got dogs.
I got my dog here. Most of my problems. I'm telling you.
Listen, and they be knowing too. Them dogs. Be
Yes,
knowing.
he come
I wonder
sneak
if
up.
My dog need therapy. I think my dog need a therapist. Cause I know they be tired of me.
They know. They
They
know.
know, they
They
feel
know.
it.
Yep.
They
Yep.
know.
And
I
then,
agree.
like, I know for me, I know a lot of the times I struggle with feeling unproductive, like I'm not doing enough.
Ooh,
And then, but the people around me are like, girl, chill.
that's me.
You good. But just feeling like I'm not doing enough, like it's something else I could be doing. I just cannot let go of that.
Where does that narrative come from? Ask yourself that question.
I don't know. know. Maybe because I saw
know.
my mama hustling and bustling her whole life. My mom always had 2 jobs.
Okay.
Until I was grown. So I don't know if it's because I saw that example or I come from a low income family. So I don't want to be poor no more. Like, listen.
Soft life. I
My-
want the soft life.
My
I
therapist,
do.
she asked me that last week. She was like, "So why? I feel like you just have this fear of failing and not being able to do this."
Yes.
I want to say, "Ma'am, I gotta feel being broke. I don't want to be homeless." Man, we better record here. Okay, that's the feel. It's like I really haven't put my finger on it yet, baby.
Put your finger, bring your finger.
I got it. Give it to me. I'm gonna show you where it's at. I'm like, that's how she's like, I just have this fear because, oh, yeah. She
Okay.
got the fear, I got the fear. I got the fear.
Fear. Fear of failure, fear of success. There's a lot of different elements.
That way, boy, I was crying, boy. I was crying like 2
I was
months ago
crying, boy.
at work. I'm just like, Lord. Like, I'm scared. Like, I know what you want me to do.
Yeah.
I hear what you want me
Yep.
to do. And I'm scared. Oh, my goodness, I broke down.
What you scared? Like, what do you think?
I don't know. I just feel like it's so much. He want me to do the right way.
Yes.
He want me to do it the
Yeah.
right way. It's
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I'm looking at everybody else like, well, dang, they did this and they still got this and that. He like, I don't care what they did
Yeah.
and how they got it, but your story is going to be different. And for it to be different, you got to do the right thing.
Yeah.
And I struggle with that.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's hard, especially looking at social media. You got a lot of influence.
Oh, yeah.
Negative,
that's
positive. There's also imposter syndrome or imposter phenomena.
I looked that up. I think I got that.
Tell me then. What that is. What that
What's
is.
imposter syndrome?
So the fear of like I don't belong. So I'm in a PhD program. I will graduate in December.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, future doctor. Yes.
Let's go.
In the program, there are 2 people that, including myself, that look like me. The rest of them they don't look like me. The professors don't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
So I started the program crying because I was like, they picked the wrong person. In my mind, I was like, I don't deserve to be here. Mind you, all these other people, first of all, I'm over it now. So
Yeah.
Come on.
But-
real raw.
everybody was like significantly younger than me too.
Oh,
I started the program at 38, 39. Everybody was like 23, 24, 20, 26.
Mm-hmm.
There was nobody over 30.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, they picked the wrong person. So there was another Jennifer in the meeting, in the interview process. I said, they probably meant to pick the other Jennifer. Those are the messages I told myself. So I don't belong here, but it's a white space. It's a white system, a predominantly white institution. And it's not only those institutions that create this fear or imposter syndrome, but I started demeaning or degrading the credentials that I had,
Man, that's so real.
comparing myself to these people,
Yeah.
thinking, oh my gosh, they're so much smarter than me. They know so much more than me. And we none of us knew what we were doing. None of us. I mean,
Everybody
we all
came in
have
at the same time.
we all have our own specialties, but
I relate to that.
Yes.
I relate to that, but I'm kind of on the other end. Like, I just finished my master's last year, and I'm doing nursing education now. All of my
Congratulations.
coworkers, thank you. All of my coworkers are like 45, 50 plus 60. I'm 28, and I'm like, and they got, all
Yes.
these certifications, and people are working on their doctorate, and I'm
Yep.
like, I ain't supposed to be here. How did I get this?
Come on, man.
exactly.
But then I had to realize, like, God is going to place you where he wants
Exactly.
you.
Where
So it
he
doesn't
wants
matter.
you.
Like, he doesn't, what is it? He doesn't call the qualified. He qualifies the call. And
Amen.
so once I realized that, I kind of chilled out.
Yes.
And now I have a whole bunch of work mamas and aunties. So
Aw.
it's cool, It's cool.
Work mamas and aunties. Let's get into that.
Oh, we need to get into that.
We got to get into that because I'm grateful that you have that at your job. While at my job, the Port of Houston, I feel like, how do I say this without sounding? Everybody cool with me. That's great. I appreciate that, But a lot of those women out there can be very mean and rude, and I just don't get it. Really?
Really?
Black women in a really?
I didn't know that. Oh.
Black women in the workplace, like we already get enough, bad rep, right?
Right,
but
right.
this has to be talked about. I'm telling you, because I love you. Okay, I'm tired. I'm tired of it. And I left one job. Me and my manager, we really didn't get in. We really didn't get along well. But then I come to this job, and it's just like y'all just want to be rude for no reason. I don't get it. I don't get it. I want to call you Auntie, but I can't because
Yeah.
you're rude.
Yep. So
Pray for me.
you want to unpack that?
I don't got nothing to unpack.
She ain't got it. You've never experienced a black woman in the workplace being rude.
I haven't experienced it, but I've witnessed it. Like, for example, this past weekend at the airline that I flew with, it was a black lady. She was yelling at the people like, y'all need to get back. Because they pissing me off. And I'm like, why is she talking to them like this? Like, first of all, this is a customer service job. Why are you speaking to these people? Why did you take this job if you didn't want to do customer service?
Yeah.
Why you saying piss? At work.
At work.
Yes.
At work. And the other ladies was like, she going to be gone soon. Don't worry.
Oh, glad you know.
But I don't know. I don't know what that is and why. I don't know why they do that at
I'm
work.
tired of it. That's why I want to write that too. Shut up.
That's part of the other reason Untriggered was made people
Oh, untriggered.
Untriggered.
They be triggered.
I wear it. I wear it every single day because I need to remind myself that number one, I don't want to die from being triggered and the stuff that go on. But number two, I don't want to go off on nobody. So trying to remain holy.
Yes.
But it's a good point. There are a lot of black women that have, I would say, done some crazy things to get where they are. And instead of lending a hand to help or embrace, it's like hazing. Can we be honest?
It is hazing.
It's literally like hazing. I'm intimidated by you. But instead of saying that and naming that, I'm going to treat you like crap.
What is up with it?
Insecure.
1351?
Yes. I'm telling
Long
you.
Shoreman's Association.
But we
I
do
get
it
that
as a
insecurity.
culture. Let's not even stop it with women in leadership.
Oh, yeah.
I
for
get
sure.
side-eyed just walking down the street from my own people.
And why
Man,
is that?
that's why I'm so grateful
ain't
for the
never been
crew
that
I
girl.
got. Cause it's no like jealousy, no
No.
envy. It's always
Yes.
good vibes and support.
Always. And they're good to people.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
good. We have friends. They're good to us, but they're also good. Like, I don't want to be cool with you if you nasty to somebody, like to
Right.
the waitress.
Right.
I mean, if she get your food wrong and she don't want to take it.
You don't be nasty though.
Don't be nasty.
Right.
But, like, get nasty when need be.
So I'm going to throw a word around that you
Right.
don't, I know it's overused,
Uh-oh.
but a lot of that is unhealed trauma.
Unhealed trauma.
And I believe that. And that's why they be hard on their kids
Yes.
at home, too.
Yep.
But
Yeah.
I'm not your child. I'm your
Unhealed
co-worker.
Your
trauma.
co-worker.
Unhealed trauma. They don't have the resources or the skills to cope with what they're dealing with or have dealt with. And unfortunately, that's what you get every day at work.
You get it, and I'm exhausted. I'm over it.
Mm-hmm.
I really.
You don't deserve that.
They don't do it to me.
Oh, okay. They like you.
No. It was one lady though. I had to get spicy with her on the radio.
She tried
Like,
you.
don't, please, ma'am. Now we cool. And she see me now. Hey, yeah, hi.
That's
How
what you
are
gotta do. You gotta do that sometimes.
Yeah, you gotta
Yeah.
get right back with them. But see, I need to be untriggered. Cause when it comes to that radio, I be feeling like people be trying to play me on the radio. Like, don't talk to me crazy.
Right. No, remember, what is your purpose?
To get your money and go home
That's it.
at that job.
But what's their purpose being rude? I just don't.
I don't know. That's between them and the Lord or whoever they worship. But
me in the chair in a minute. It's gonna be between me, you, and that chair. Y'all remember that chair?
it's not an August 5th moment. It's not an August 5th moment.
Man, I can't go that long. But yeah, I'm over it. But recently, I found I had a training at a job, and I met this lady. It was a black woman. She was young. She probably was in her early 30s. And I just had to stop her and say, ma'am, I appreciate you. Thank you for being nice, because a lot of women that I work with are not nice. She was like, I know.
That
She's
is
like, I
sad.
experienced that, and she's like, that's why I'm like this. And I just thank her so much. I don't remember her name though.
That's
I had to
awesome.
let her know.
I want to
We
talk
need-
about like the flip side of that though, like not being the leader but being the employee, and try not to be seen like you try not to seem aggressive, like they like to deem us aggressive. Like, so I remember being a nurse, like going to work, kind of having to. I feel like I had to code switch a little bit. Like, I can't really be myself around these people because they're gonna think I'm crazy, or not being direct like I should be.
Right.
Like, if something bothered me, not necessarily being direct and speaking up for myself like I should.
Because you
Because
don't
I don't
want
want
to
to be
the
deemed
angry black
aggressive. I don't want to be the
woman.
angry black woman.
F off.
Yeah, that sounds like a systemic problem, and that is typically the spaces that we operate are not meant for us. They're not meant for people
That's
like
it.
us.
That's
Mhm.
it. That's all.
So you have a choice.
Mm.
You have a choice to show up how you think they would perceive you or deem you as appropriate, or you have a choice to say fuck the system
Yeah.
and do what you want to do. There are consequences to both choices, but I'm moving towards the age of 41, or I am 41, where authenticity matters to me.
Yes.
So I show up in spaces how,
Mm.
but I'm 41, so it's like I was there in my
Yeah.
20s, I was there in my 30s. Somewhere about 35, I was like, you know what? These people can get it. And COVID happened and everybody got it. So
Right.
Yeah.
I just show up as how I am. Now, gratefully, I have my own practice. So I don't work for anybody else.
Ooh,
Praise
that's
God.
goals
That is
right
the
there.
goal.
Unless, I mean, I will be being an educator and I will need a check.
Yeah.
But I'm an adjunct. So that's like, I don't have to be there all the time. But for the most part, I created my own circle because I don't operate how they want me to operate.
Yeah. So speaking of the days, so like, how do you know how you get a new hairstyle, and then everybody wants to like pet you when you come back?
Can
or,
I
oh
touch
my
it?
Gosh, can I
Is
touch
it your
it? Like,
hair?
how do
It's
you?
so
Just lick the mic.
long.
How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that?
I tell them the truth.
What'd you tell 'em?
My cousin braided my hair. It's bundles.
I think I embarrassed one lady one time when I came to. She asked me something about. I wish I could get my hair like that, and I said, "Oh, you can't."
You can't. Ooh.
Cold blooded.
I said, "Your hair doesn't do this," and I mean, I wasn't trying to be mean, but it just came out. It was like,
raw.
Yeah.
just say that you like my hair or my hair is. I don't even care if you say it's interesting. Just don't
But why you even gotta say anything?
don't do the most. Just don't do the most.
Okay, so why can't they say they like your hair?
Because, like, what you talk about me for?
But
What you
another
even
black
say?
woman can say they like your
Yes,
hair. They
that's
like your
I don't know.
So I do have some white friends, and they are respectfully like, "Oh, Jennifer, your hair looks nice today. Thank you." They don't cross the boundary.
Have you ever
Right.
told a
And
white
that's
person
enough
their hair
for
look
me.
nice though?
Yes, I have.
What was the hairstyle?
Like it was color. Like I care the color. I love
Oh,
color.
yeah, yeah.
I love like
Oh.
color.
Like
and-
balayage?
Yes,
Or
that's
balayage?
Balayage.
Balayage. That's a good
so.
one.
Yes, but my upbringing is Lord. I have changed, but my racial identity has shifted throughout my years. So my racial identity, I started off. I grew up on the south side of Houston, till age like 5. Then went culture shock to Spring, Texas. Went to all Klein ISD schools. And was with
over here.
yeah. I was trying to get to Westfield, but I was with a lot of the predominantly white kids and things like that. So I went to college and it was a culture shock. So I went to Dallas, and then, but my identity was still preserved in this white idealistic. Like I needed to be top 10%. I needed to be this, and that. I remember my graduation. I love my mom to this day, and I'm getting a PhD. But my bachelor's ceremony, she looked at the people getting hooded and was like, "Oh, that's gonna be you." I was like, "Can we not celebrate?
They're moving the goalposts.
Can we not celebrate the fact that I'm the first
Let's
out of
talk
our
about
family
that.
to
My
get
mom
a
did that too.
college degree?" And so, but I blame how they were brought up. White was seen as right, so white is
Yeah.
right. So I grew up with these false ideologies, for a very, very long time, and my racial identity changed, and it was I used to compete. I used to want to compete. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to assimilate and be a part of the white society. I worked in Klein ISD for a long time, thinking, oh, if I play nice, they'll hire me.
Right.
Until they didn't. I played nice for my entire life, and they didn't. They passed me up for a job, gave it to a white woman that was underqualified. All 4 black women were the top 4 candidates of the job, and they said nope, 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 and gave it to the white woman.
Wow. Looked over.
Yes. Yes.
Because of your skin color.
Because of your skin color.
That's a different level
And
of hurt.
and you're 41, and this
41.
stuff is still going on today.
But had the nerve to tell me to my face, oh, you didn't sell yourself enough. Excuse me? Excuse me?
What do I need to sell myself for? Look at my credentials.
Exactly.
Like,
That's it.
Exactly. But what made, I always tell this story because it makes me laugh. And I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but who cares? Authenticity matters, right? So
Right.
2 years later, they used my presentation to train their entire staff.
I know you lying.
Did you get paid for that?
No, I gave it to them. I
Oh.
gave it to them.
Come on.
I
God
did.
done blessed her.
Yes.
He done blessed-
Right,
blessed
right.
and
Exactly.
coming.
Right, right.
Exactly. So I already
Okay.
know what I'm worth. Why not? Oh, go ahead. Use this little
And you
presentation.
did it in what? How do you say it? You did it with good
Intentions.
Intentions.
Yeah, good intentions. Not
Good
like,
intentions.
Oh, that's all right. I'm
Nope.
cool.
Because God has something. I didn't need to be there.
Right.
So I already know the system. The system wasn't for me. And I wouldn't be here today if that had not happened.
My.
So,
Everything
nah,
happens
go
for
ahead and
a
use a little
reason.
funky presentation. I don't
Yeah,
care.
go ahead.
My picture right on it. They had to
Oh,
present
yeah,
it.
so they know
well.
who it is. Oh, as long as
I had
they know
people.
who name
I
it.
had people calling me. So, this presentation is your picture. Yeah, it's mine. Mhm.
Yeah, that mine.
They didn't hire me for the job, but they wanted to use my presentation to train y'all. So go ahead, take it. Do what you gotta do.
Yeah. Dang, racial identity. So I didn't really struggle with racial identity, but
Mhm.
I grew up in church, like super, super churchy. So I struggle with that, like
Yeah.
wanting to be like this perfect image of a person, and I think I put a lot of pressure on me growing up.
Yeah.
Like even having normal experiences like losing my virginity, that was like,
I'm still a virgin.
yeah.
I'm married.
Yeah,
I'm still a
married
virgin.
now. But like even losing my virginity, I remember like being so sad about it, and
Yeah.
like I'm this, I'm that.
I was sad. I wonder why I wasn't sad because I went to the wrong church.
You didn't go to the Baptist church. Apparently, the traditional Baptist church
Oh, I didn't
where
go
they
to one
sang
that's singing
where they
hymns.
sang hymns.
Oh,
Yes.
I feel bad now.
Nah, I'm just playing.
Like,
I ain't
I
feel
just
bad now, I feel
remember
bad now.
feeling so like low, like I disappointed God, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm not worthy, and I
Yeah.
don't know what that was.
Yeah.
I think I was just too wrapped up. I don't know.
Spirituality is a very complex system for people like you and me.
Yeah.
That is what our identity was wrapped up in. I remember being in choir rehearsal. My dad was on the deacon board.
Everything.
Everything. And sadly, a lot of these churches ain't right. Like the pastors ain't right. You know, we put a lot of hope and faith into these individuals and systems. In reality, it's what is your relationship like with God?
Yeah.
Right.
I
And
can't
then-
depend on you.
And then like we put them on a pedestal, and
Yep.
they're still human.
They are
Right,
very
and
much
that's
human.
our own fault.
That's
I
our
feel
own fault, you
'cause
know.
They're still human. They're gonna
They're
mess
still
up.
human.
Nobody's
They're gonna
perfect.
mess up. Nobody's perfect.
I'm
Yeah.
supposed to respect the man of God, but that doesn't mean I have to agree and do everything the man of
Agree,
God tells me.
tolerate,
Right.
Mm-mm.
respect, or abuse, or anything like that.
Mm-mm.
None of it.
You have
Do
any
you
more
have
questions?
anything else?
I do want to talk about mental health resources in
Mhm.
the Black
Yeah.
community. Do you have any?
So absolutely. I can't remember Megan Thee Stallion's page, but she did a mental health resource for all Black people. But there's therapy for Black girls, therapy for Black men. There is you can go on like Psychology Today to find a therapist for you.
Yeah, that's where I found mine.
Yeah, Psychology Today. You can look at all their pictures and see who kind of looks like you. Search up in the area. There's plenty more, but if you have insurance, I would at least ask your insurance. I thought it was like winning. Like it was a win for me when Blue Cross Blue Shield called my phone and said, I have a client and they want a person of color. And I was like, come on, Blue Cross.
Oh,
Come on, Blue Cross. Like we're moving in the right direction
Yes.
of accepting that this is necessary for our communities to heal. So there are a lot of mental health resources out there that you can find for, people that you were looking for. Other things, I really think that the Black community is really resilient anyway. So if therapy is not where you want to start, there are tons of YouTube videos that with licensed professionals that talk about coping skills, strategies. I would shy away from TikTok, y'all.
Yeah.
Not everybody on TikTok is a really, truly mental health provider.
Oh, right.
So if you're going to do TikTok or social media, vet the people first. Like, are they really licensed individuals? There are a lot of people out here preaching the wrong message. So if you are looking for counseling per se, you have those resources, but you could also think about community centers. There's so many things that we do as a culture that is healing. So think about holistic practices.
Yeah.
Going to church for some, singing for some, exercising.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, tips and tricks on managing day-to-day
Yes.
anxiety.
Yes.
Outside of your counseling or your therapy.
This may or may not be helping my anxiety. But I am not out here promoting substance use, y'all.
Right,
right. Oh.
But there are things that really work for certain people that are different.
Mm-hmm.
Being around people that I love.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
that's healing for me.
Yes.
Listen, we got
That
to meet
right
up at least
there.
once a month.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely. This is amazing having just other people that support you. I do sing on the praise team at church.
Okay. I remember you saying you was going to
Praise team practice. That is healing for me. Singing at 2 a.m. in my bathroom on my husband's sleep is healing for me. Sex with my husband. I'm a virgin.
Don't forget the B club.
With my husband. Or intimacy with my husband is healing. Connecting with just people is very healing. So there are a lot of things that we have already done. I wrote a blog talking about the kickback. The kickback. So, or the family barbecue. Like back in the day, we put on some music. Betty Wright has a song. They find you on a little breakup. They throw a little party.
Right.
That is healing for our community.
Man, it is. And I was just thinking, like, dang, my family whack. We don't do that no more. Man, y'all whack, man. We ain't having no parties and nothing.
But we at the age now where
It's
time
y'all's.
for us to
Yep.
step up.
It's time. It's time.
She
I
don't wanna
guess.
step up. She don't want to
No,
step up.
I'm playing.
But all of that is a source. If it makes you feel good, that's
If it makes you feel, it's all about feeling good, bro.
Yes.
Just do what makes you feel good.
And saying no, learning to say no.
Learning to say no.
Boundaries.
We
That
talked
has
about
been-
that.
That has
boundaries.
been the most powerful thing for me this past year.
Learning to say
Learning
no.
to say no.
I don't want to do it. Get somebody else to do it.
And I do not have to explain to you why I don't want to do it.
No, it's a complete sentence.
It's a complete
I learned that.
N-O with a
Period.
exclamation point. Forget the period, okay? No means no, and that's it. That's all. I don't have
You're
to tell you
absolutely
why.
right. You're absolutely right. Being firm in your boundaries. I think that's something that I learned with age that I wish I would have known when I was younger. So
Yeah, and it's difficult, especially because your family will think you're selfish or
Ooh, especially
They
when
be the
somebody
main
I
did-
used to get
ones.
guilt tripped. If I said no, I don't want to do it.
I had it with my white friends. It's y'all.
They understand, girl.
It be your own family.
Own people.
I tried to divorce my grad program, and I'm like, Mama, they are racist. They do it. She talking about, and you not quitting. Who paying the bill?
Right.
I am.
Oh my goodness.
Me and only me.
Yep.
Yeah. Say no.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Jennifer, for coming on today.
I appreciate it. This was
we
fun.
appreciate you taking time out your schedule to come be with us.
Absolutely.
And share with our viewers. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of the Easy on Me podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on so you don't miss any new episodes, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.